Hi, everybody. I'm going to turn this up in case, or maybe that's down. Sorry. I forgot that I had turned the volume down on my iPad last night, so I wanted to make sure that it's up good enough. It showed on my mic that it was, but I just want to make sure. I'm sure a lot of you are still over on Reese's channel, and that's fine. Just catch me on the replay. I see a couple of you are here. I would still be on Reese's channel too. If I hadn't already scheduled this one, I would have postponed it just a little bit. So I don't feel bad at all if y'all want to finish hers. I'm definitely going back there right after I finish here. But I hope that, that you'll join me either now or on the replay for this one. It does come with a trigger warning, y'all, because this story deals with the death of a young woman who was in the hands of the cult of Scientology. So if this is just too much for you, and talking about, her passing and everything is just too much for you, then just please watch something else. Husband's doing laundry, so if you hear doors squeaky, that's what it is. He always tends to wait till I get ready to do something, and then he starts doing something. So anyway, today we're going to dive in a little bit. This is going to actually be a bit of a series, but today we're going to dive into who is Lisa McPherson, why does Scientology want us to forget her, and why we must never do that, y'all. Never. We're going to get started right after this. T and Jenny, hello. I was just about to head out for a dinner, but I'll catch you on replay. Absolutely. Go have some dinner. Mischief Managed, hello to all. Absolutely, hello. I'm going to start with kind of a really short timeline. And it's honestly just the very end of Lisa McPherson's life. And then I'm going to go into it a little more depth. But this will be just the first of a series that we're doing. And this one will just deal with the last few days of her life. And then we're going to really look into it, because I feel like she has kind of just been reduced to a news story or a brick. And all we think about is her passing. And I want to try to dig and find some stuff about her life. Because it kind of dawned on me when I was doing the research for this that she would have been just a little bit older than me. Texas. She had just moved to Florida to be, closer to the Mecca, of Scientology. And so, she was close to my age. She lived in Texas. I live in Oklahoma. She should be living a life a lot like what I'm living. Not that I have a charmed life, but I have a blessed life. I'm lucky to have the life I am. And whenever I think about people like Lisa McPherson that don't have that anymore, it just really makes me think about how lucky I really am. And so today I just want to go over a little bit of a timeline, and we'll chat about it a little bit. But just for those of you that don't know who she is, and let's think about that this video is going to be there not just today, but this video is going to be there forever, right? And so maybe somebody 10 years from now will stumble onto this, and maybe it'll be like important to them, important to their decision to not get into this cult. In 1994, oh, my nose is itching, y'all. We have had so much wind, and my allergies are just horrible. Oh, I'm sorry. Gosh. I'm sorry. Oh. In 1994, Lisa McPherson, a longtime Scientologist, moved from Dallas, Texas to Clearwater, Florida with her employer, AMC Publishing, just wanting to be close to the church's spiritual headquarters. That always bothers me when they say spiritual headquarters, because there's absolutely nothing spiritual about the cult of Scientology. They basically don't believe in it, in anything spiritual. But that's what they call it because they want to be a church. It makes me sick, really. In September of 1995, a ceremony was held at the Fort Harrison Hotel where Lisa is publicly declared clear, a state in which Scientologists is said to be free of inhibitions caused by the painful images of their subconscious. In her last 5 years, McPherson spent $175,000 on auditing. She was 36. On November 18th, 1995, in Clearwater, after a minor traffic accident, Lisa takes off all of her clothes and tells the paramedics, I need help. I wanted help. I need to talk to someone. She is taken to Morton Plant Hospital for a psychiatric evaluation, but she's signed out later against the advice of the doctors. Scientology church members took her to the Fort Harrison Hotel, and they began supervising her medical care. Janice Johnson, who was not licensed to practice medicine in Florida, in fact, only in Arizona, oversaw her care. That doesn't mean that she took, did her care, all of it, but she was like, the charge nurse. There's this nurse, but then there's all these other, in a hospital, then there's all these other nurses under it, and then the charge nurse kind of in charge. So anyway, as a very simplified, I guess, explanation, on December 5th of 1995, after 17 days of caring for Lisa McPherson, Scientologists worry that she may have become seriously ill. They drive her to a hospital in Newport Richey, past 4 closer hospitals, so she can be seen by David Minkoff, a Scientologist who works in the ER. He's also the father of Rebecca Minkoff, the designer and new cast member of The Housewives of New York, herself a huge Scientologist, just as a little side note, y'all. McPherson was not breathing, has no heartbeat, is gaunt, bruised, and unkempt. And Minkoff pronounced her dead. Pretty much that's all that Scientology wants you to know. She was there, she had a breakdown, they took care of her, and she died, right? She got suddenly ill and died. But I think over this timeline that we're going to go over today, and then as we dive deeper in the coming days or weeks, you're going to see that it's just not really the case. Her family was still in Texas. That's where her funeral was at. But even though she had moved to Florida to be a part of this, wonderful, that chokes me to say it, but, this wonderful church, y'all. There was no local obituary. There was not even a police report on her death. It was like she ceased to to exist the minute that they dropped her off with Minkoff at a hospital 45 minutes away when they could have taken her 2 minutes. And it makes me sick. And I've known this story, but for some reason, I just woke up in the night the other night and I couldn't get her out of my mind. And I kept seeing, remember the live where Aaron was laying on the sidewalk and he was repainting the words on her brick? I kept seeing that and thinking about how I had been so moved by that. And I just kind of decided then that I needed to dive into it a little bit more, even if just for me, just that I wanted to know, but for you all too. And for any future potential Scientologists out there or Scientologists that are under the radar, I guarantee you they've lied to you about who she is and what happened. I guarantee it. And if you do anything, and I'm speaking to current or future Scientologists, if you do anything with this video before you just hit to get away from it, just watch it. It's just a few minutes out of your life that, if I'm full of crap, the most you've lost is a few minutes in your life, and the most you gain is your life. So I just want to go over some of the timelines, y'all. Hold on, I'm just making sure that I've got this in the right order. I'm sorry, I was like hurrying so much that... Yeah, I got it in the right order. It didn't look right, my notes, but they are. I kind of jumped back and forth. I'm so sorry. On December 16th of 1996, now remember she passed on December 5th of 1995, so a year later, news of her death leaks out. The church's version of what happened was that she had checked into the Fort Harrison Hotel for rest and relaxation and suddenly fell ill. On January of 1997, there was a 3-department investigation, and the medical examiner, Joan Wood, tells reporters there is no way Lisa McPherson suddenly fell ill. So we finally, after all this time, it looks like, a year later, So in January, over a year later, y'all, there's a 3-department investigation, and the medical examiner says that there's no way that she suddenly fell ill. And that took over a year. February 19th of 1997 in Tampa, Lisa McPherson's relatives file a wrongful death lawsuit against Church of Scientology, alleging they allowed her to languish in a coma without nutrition and liquids while she was held in isolation in the hotel. And then November 13th of 1998, after reviewing the Lisa McPherson case for 11 months. Now, this is actually, we're talking 11 months, but they didn't start the investigation for a year after she died. So we're actually talking about almost 2 years. The state attorney, Bernie McCabe, charges Church of Scientology with 2 felonies: practicing medicine without a license and abuse of a disabled adult. But right when it looks like maybe, something's going to start going right, right? Guess again. February of 2000, after reviewing medical information provided by the Church of Scientology, Wood changes Lisa McPherson's death certificate. She amends the manner of death from undetermined to accident. Now, that's her cause of death was a blood clot, but her manner of death was an accident. So basically, an accidental blood clot. My thing is, what the heck caused her to get a blood clot to begin with? I think you're going to find it in these notes, okay? Then on June the 12th of 2000, with his review complete, McCabe dropped the charges against COS. I think it was kind of grudgingly, because he said that Wood's change of opinion undercut the state's requirement to prove a criminal case beyond reasonable doubt. And I understand that. If she would have just stuck by it, but she didn't, right? And I think it's funny that she changed her opinion, her medical opinion, after medical documents were supplied to her by the Church of Scientology. Do you know what those medical documents were? They were a log of the care that they took of her. Now, think of a log as a journal, right? One would hope that in a log/journal that you're writing the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, kind of a thing. But is there anybody watching over you to make sure? I could tell my journal anything, right? On May 26th of 2004, the church and the estate of Lisa McPherson reach a settlement, the terms of which are confidential. That's normal. My parents reached a confidential settlement with the drug company that made Fen when my sister died, and the results of that are confidential. I didn't sign a confidentiality agreement. So, anyway, from November 18th to December 5th of 1995, COS staffers who monitored Lisa around the clock kept logs. Marty Rathbun, who managed the fallout from the case for the church, later admitted that he ordered the last 2 days of logs destroyed because he feared they incriminated the Church of Scientology. I think that those last 2 days would be pretty important. Why is he not on criminal charges? I mean, I know he's kind of disappeared into the who knows where, right? He came out. He may or may not have made some kind of settlement with the church to shut up. I mean, I don't know. I just have all kinds of not very nice things that I'd like to say to and about him. But here I have some of the excerpts from the logs. They weren't all made public. I'm sure some of it was just very repetitive and everything, but the ones that were made public, I do have. So we're going to go through some of those, and it's, there's several, but I think it'll go pretty fast. November 18th, 2:45. Lisa is talking since about 30 minutes. She was saying, I created time 3 billion years ago, and now I am dramatizing it since then. I am LRH, and I didn't confront it because I didn't confront that power. I want to dance. I need my auditor. I need to confront my mom. Clearly, somebody that was going through some sort of mental break, it sounds to me like. At 3:15, she's still talking nonstop, and she tried to go out the door. So they're holding her in there, right? They're like holding her, I don't know if you'd say hostage. I mean, she went willingly with them, but she's obviously trying to leave. So is she now a hostage, or is she there willingly? I don't know. November 19th. This afternoon, Lisa walked like a robot. What is new? She starts talking. She talks and talks, and then she stares at a spot. She also tries to push buttons on me, what she never did before, and says that I am her and she is controlling my body. She kissed me on my mouth. Sorry. She took my arm and put it on her tummy and went with her tongue over my face, and I brought her back to bed. But I did let her sit outside for 5 minutes. I'm sorry. Those allergies. I'm going to get a drink real quick, y'all. They're supposed to be taking care of her. She's there for rest and relaxation in a, beautiful hotel, but they let her sit outside for 5 minutes. She's in Florida. Wouldn't sitting outside in the fresh air and all that have helped? But, they didn't want her to be seen, did they? November 20th. She has difficulties even to swallow a bit of water. She got 2 sips of protein drink down. Right now, she is again jumping out of the bed over and over. Now, this is 3 days. And she's went from, she's walking around like a robot or whatever. I mean, I don't know what she was doing. But she's went from that, obviously in some sort of psychotic break. I mean, obviously. To that she can barely get down 2 sips of protein drink. But she's jumping in and out of the bed over and over. I mean, obviously, why didn't these people get her some help? I mean, I think we know, right? Because she would have gotten psychiatric help. November 22nd, she is totally type 3. I don't know what that means. There was no explanation, but it does say blabbering, incoherent, nonstop. She is shaking. No warm clothes on. She has a bra type shirt, shorts, shoes, no socks. She fell asleep for 4 hours and then got up. I finally chased her around the place 50 times and got on slacks, a t-shirt, jacket, socks, and shoes. She was like an ice cube. She talked incoherently, hour after hour. She refused to eat and spit out everything she took. Her breath was foul. She looked like measles and chicken pox on her face, and she had a fever to my touch. Okay, I want to go back over this a little bit. I get the whole deal. That she was in skimpier clothes. Like she was in a hotel room, right? But she was cold, and apparently they had to chase her to get her to put on warm clothes. And she was talking incoherent. But in this, it says that she spit out everything she took in, right? Just on the day before, they said that they couldn't get her to, like, nothing would go down, basically. So I don't understand. These aren't necessarily the same people taking notes. So I don't understand. And her breath was foul. Was she having showers and having her teeth brushed, or was there some other reason that she had foul breath? I mean, none of that goes into this. She had looked like measles and chicken pox on her face. Well, I'm going to go ahead and, spoiler alert. In the autopsy, it says that she had insect bites, presumably cockroach bites, all over her body. And it also says, had a fever to my touch. These are medically supervising her. These people are medically supervising her. They don't have a thermometer. They just, like, she's got a fever. I mean, I can feel that she's got a fever. Well, does she have 100 fever? Does she have 105 fever? What does she have, right? I mean, they are medically supervising her. They've taken her out of a hospital and brought her there. And they can't even take her temperature. After 1 p.m., she went violent and hit me a few times, telling me in a rage she was to kill me. Some of this, the way it's written, I don't think that the person's first language is English. This may even be a translation. I don't know. It doesn't say. But a lot of it, I really had to kind of decipher. I called the guard. He stayed with me during the rage. She still smacked me around, and I did cover and guard myself. But she was out of control. I'd like to know what she did that was, or he, I don't know if it's male or female for that matter. I'd like to know what they did when they covered and guarded themselves, because she also was covered in bruises, some more healed than others. So it wasn't like that she suddenly got, fell or whatever and got hurt one day. No, she had varying degrees of healing bruises all over her body. So I'm very interested in what did she do? What did they do to guard themselves and protect themselves? November 30th, 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. on the floor, scooting around, moving her arms and legs, speaking and groaning. "1:30 a.m. to 5 a.m. I probably got the equivalent of 3 valerian root caps into her." I didn't look that up. I wanted to look that up. If anybody knows what it is, you might put it in the chat. If not, I will look it up and add it into the next little thing that we do on this. It took 4 feedings over 4.5 hours, I guess, to get the medicine into her. And she didn't say what she gave her. She will appear very cooperative and hold her mouth open and make eye contact as if she is there. Then close the back of her throat and not swallow. This bothered me. as if the whole damn thing is not bothering me. My idea to close her nose so that she has to swallow so she can breathe through her mouth is only marginally successful. I keep imagining this happening to me because, I mean, she's like 6 years older than me, but we're, pretty much in the same age group. And I've never had a psychotic break, but my God, how much of her psychotic break was she having before she got there, and how much of it escalated afterwards, and how much would she have, maybe none of that would have happened if they just left her where she was at in the hospital. 9:15 a.m. I got a small amount of bananas and shake mixture into her, about an ounce of tea. She is much more physically strong this morning. She sits up frequently and for long periods of time. Yesterday, I only saw her sit up once. She was lying on the floor, scooting around. She is using her legs to kick again. Yesterday, that wasn't so much of a threat. Then it says, PPS. Lisa has come uptone. She was apathetic yesterday, physically and in her communication, just a few spurts of anger, and not very determined in that. This morning, I'm still trying to kind of decipher what they're saying. This morning, she is deliberate, nasty, even evil. Cabana, Chica, I'm discussing the Lisa McPherson case. She died in the custody of the cult of Scientology. December 2nd, 10 a.m. to 3 a.m. Or 10 p.m., I'm sorry, to 3 a.m. I gave her 4 valerian root capsules, 4 orenthane, and it says not positive about the name, haven't seen the bottle, but it's one of the herbal sleeping preparations, and approximately 6 ounces of CalMag. Them and their CalMag, right? She has gotten drowsy from time to time, but at 3 a.m. is still awake and talking. We also cut her fingernails. This will reduce the risk of scratches to herself and to us. She has scratches and abrasions all over her body, on her elbows, her knees, and she has pressure sores. None are open and none look infected. Well, thank goodness for that, right? 8 a.m. I will give her more herbal sleep preparation and will communicate with Janice later about other measures to ensure, she gets some serious sleep today. Then she says the finances for her protein drinks ran out last night. I am in communication with a security guard who said the source of the money was Lisa's employer and that he thought he could get more this morning. December 3rd, 1 to 1:30 a.m. Tried to feed her again, but she wouldn't take anything. She thought that we were psychos or other enemies who wanted to kill her. It just breaks my heart. This is torture for this woman. I'm not even saying that they tortured her, which I think they did, but what she was going through was mental torture. And they could have fixed it first by having left her in the hospital, or second by taking her back. – 10 a.m. she slept most of the time, several hours of good sleep. When she awoke this a.m., she was very confused and combative. Remember, this is December 3rd. At 2 p.m., she appears to be awakening. She has tried several times to stand, but isn't strong enough yet. It just gets to me because this started I want to make sure I get it right. Yeah, on November 18th. We're like 2 weeks. Okay. 2, 3 weeks, something like that. I'm going to feed her some mashed bananas and protein powder. I've been in communication with the security guard about getting more money for her. Because God knows the $175,000 that she has spent on auditing doesn't afford her minimal care. We're talking about smashing up a few little chunks of banana and some protein powder, and down further somewhere it says some half and half or something, and some tea. We're not talking about this girl getting freaking steaks. We're talking about a smashed up banana. And they're worried about where they're going to get the money. 3 p.m. She's resting now. She originated that she knows that we're trying to help her, although she doesn't know our names and we don't talk to her. The rest of her communication is confused stuff. She had a couple ounces of water. Body-wise, she's very restful and gentle. She tried to stand, but she's not strong enough yet. Not strong enough yet. I got news for you. She's never going to be strong enough. 6:30 p.m., fixing more bananas, protein powder, and half. At this point, the final 2 days were destroyed by Marty Rathbun to protect COS. So that's the last that we know. And for years, Marty was adamant that the church did nothing wrong. But eventually he said it was the perfect storm of incompetence and irresponsibility within the church. He also said that the church was willing to pay almost any price to make the case go away, and he sent an emissary to the funeral in Dallas with authority to give her mom whatever she wanted. Fanny, the mom, rebuffed the approach because she said the family did not trust the Church of Scientology. Rathbun said that if the mom needed $5 million, they'd have come up with $5 million. The church officials said that he was a bitter ex-member who inflated his importance and whose motives should be suspect. They said that Miscavige had demoted him in 2003 in part for missteps in the McPherson case, and that he was just doing this to get back at Miscavige. On December 5th, the day that she died, McPherson had lost about 12 pounds in less than 3 weeks. This on an already thin person. She had to have been, well, I've seen the autopsy photos, and if you all want to see them, I'm not showing them. But you can Google it. They're all there. And she was skeletal. She was about 12 pounds had lost about 12 pounds. Johnson, the church doctor called Minkoff, she wasn't legal, but anyway, she called Minkoff, and Minkoff told her to take her to Morton Plant Hospital just down the street from where they were at. But then a church counseling supervisor told Minkoff that he feared that she'd be exposed to psychiatric care at Morton Plant. And he assured Minkoff that her condition was not life-threatening. What they didn't tell him was that she was limp and unable to walk, that her breathing was labored, and her eyes were fixed and unblinking. Her face was gaunt, which is a sign of severe dehydration. her caregivers, I use that term very loosely, y'all, drove 45 minutes past 4 other hospitals to get her to Minkoff. They rolled her in to the ER across a wheelchair, not in it, across it. She had no pulse, no heartbeat, and was not breathing. Minkoff pronounced her dead. In the next few days, we're going to go over more of this case, y'all, including Miss Gavage's participation in Lisa's case, and even reportedly Tom Cruise had some sort of involvement in the case. And I'm going to look into all that. I've got a ton of notes I've already taken, and I have to compile it and kind of divide it up into different sections that we're going to handle, because it's a lot. But I wanted to just first get you acquainted with Lisa and her care or lack thereof before we next cover the behind the scenes and all the crap that has come to light after her death. So anyway, I'm going to go to the chat, and I just want to see what you all think. I mean, did you hear anything that you didn't already know? Did you hear anything I might have got wrong? I'm really interested in what you all have to say about it. I really am. So, Donna says she respects my work. Thank you. Thank you very much. Susan P says, hey, Susie. Yeah, mischief managed. A year later, they waited a year before any kind of investigation or anything happened. That is, which in their defense, it doesn't sound like the police even knew. I think that the church just very quietly made it go away until it was leaked. So I can't really be mad at the police in this case, because my nose is itching. I just feel like I just want to take a scrap brush to it. But I don't think that the police knew. The person that I'm really the most angry with is the medical examiner, because if she hadn't have changed her diagnosis a year later, more than that, maybe they would have been held accountable. I mean, she didn't say that she was murdered. But she took away the police's ability, really, to investigate it and bring charges. So I blame the medical examiner in this case. I really do. Yeah. Shame on anyone who relies on info from COS. Hope the check was a big one. Me too. And some people, they get very angry with families that settle. But sometimes that's the only means you have. And it creates a paper trail. Settling, just like, okay, for instance, my parents and several others settling with the drug company. We knew we couldn't win a criminal suit. We couldn't win that because more than one medical examiner had turned puss, basically. Sorry, but that's what they'd done. They had caved to, a big drug company. And we knew we couldn't get them criminally. But you can hurt them financially, and it creates a paper trail of things that have happened in the past. And so, like, the next time, God forbid, somebody dies in their care, then her case can be looked at and said, this has happened before. Is this going to be a pattern? That kind of thing. And so it's not just about the money, although I would not care if they got $5 billion. I wouldn't care. Because they lost Lisa. And that cult is responsible. So I agree, Donna. I hope that check was a big one. I hope it really is. Really was. Miss Sunshine Dawn says hi from North Georgia, everyone. She's catching up on 2X. Donna is in the greater Atlanta area. Cool. I'm wanting to visit that part of the country soon. We go to Savannah, usually several times a year. I've not been there in close to 2 years because I've been battling cancer and going through chemo, which I'm getting ready to start again on a week from tomorrow. So, but my husband, he did say the other day, well, maybe we could go in June for your birthday. And I told him, I said, don't even talk to me about it yet. Let me get started on this chemo and see how I'm doing. Cause I don't want to go to Savannah and spend the whole time in a hotel in the bed. I want to be able to get up and walk around and enjoy myself and see friends and eat. I mean, y'all's got some good food in that part of the country, or at least for me, that is like my kind of food. Absolutely, Mischief Managed, a log. I'm sure that was all kinds of accurate. Yeah. If you read it, just the fact that it is so choppy and it really does read, and it's online. You all can go read it too. I'm not presenting anything that you can't go find yourself. But it's on there. It sounds like that it's, at times, it's written by somebody that doesn't speak good English, or maybe it's interpreted. It's very choppy. Instead of saying this happened and da 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 da, it says da 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 da, like a bullet, ledger or something. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. Oh, really? Laura FM reports that she, as a child, was given the task of shredding those documents. Oh, boy. Yeah. Mischief Manager says, oh, wow. The Lisa story never gets any easier to listen to. Makes me so sad and angry. Sangry. Absolutely. Very late to the party. That's all right. Aw, creepy B5. I love you too, girl. Mischief Manager says, angry for sure. Yeah. Susan P says, cockroach bites. Oh my God, this makes me sick. Me too. Me too. I mean, this is going to sound gross, y'all. But many years ago, we lived out in the country, not where we do now, but we live, and I wasn't married to my husband then. I was married to my first husband. And all of a sudden, we got cockroaches. Now, I'm not a filthy, nasty person, and I understand that anybody can get them. I understand that's kind of like head lice. Anybody can get them. But I fought them for probably 6 months, and I mean, fought them like crazy. We finally figured out. I mean, they weren't horrible, but they were, I was fighting them. They were in the kitchen, and it just makes me sick to think about it. But anyway, I fought them constantly, right? None of us ever got bit by one. And I know that they can bite because I have researched that. And they can. But it's usually when there are huge infestations. So, how bad did it have to be? And another thing, they will make people clean the freaking toilet with a toothbrush and stuff, right? Clean the floor with a toothbrush and all that, but they can't afford to hire an exterminator and come to these places and spray for cockroaches. I mean, it seems to be an ongoing problem. You hear about it all the time, not to this extent, but you hear about it all the time. We hired an I mean, I fought it with everything I could fight it with. And I would think they were gone and they'd be back. Well, come to find out, these people that lived across the creek from us were rough, y'all. And they would spray, and here they would come across the creek to our house. And then I'd get rid of them, and they would spray, and here they come across. So it was just a mess. So we ended up having an exterminator come out and spray, and got rid of them. And then they set all kinds of stuff up outside, and eventually we started spraying. And I really try not to like spray, pesticides and stuff, but at some point you got to do it sometimes. And we did, and we literally made a wide, sweeping thing across our yard all the way to the creek and all the way around our entire house. And we never had them again. But why can't the Church of Scientology hire somebody to come in and spray them? I mean, I guess they don't want anybody to know they've got them. But I'm sure there's probably a Scientologist around there somewhere that has an extermination business. They have every other business around there, right? Everybody's talking to each other. I'm so glad. That thrills me when y'all do that. Yeah, we're talking about the Lisa McPherson case. They let her die, and that is murder. Yeah. Even if it's not first degree, it is definitely some sort, right? I mean, and I blame the medical examiner. I think that if it hadn't been for her, I think that they would have gotten in some trouble. Hey, Carrie Ann's here. John Van Geest. Hi, y'all. Sorry I'm late. That's okay, Carrie Ann. What is it that Liz says? You're here right when you're supposed to be. Donna says, I have felt despair and hopelessness, but never in fear of dying. I know, right? Absolutely. Inappropriate Heifer says, hey, girl. This is what I kept thinking right here. I cannot imagine what was going through her mind. And I mean, I realized she was having some kind of psychotic break, but, I don't care. I mean, what was she thinking? I mean, it just, Yeah, Dawn Gloves, you're going to have to watch it from the beginning. This just gets me that Laura FM was assigned to shred those documents. That one just, the things that, I don't know. I don't know how they've escaped the attention of the FBI to the point that they get shut down. I I don't understand it. Yeah, here's what I wondered. What did OSA have on the doctor for her to change the autopsy findings? Yeah, because I mean, she didn't have to be a Scientologist for OSA to come up with something, right? I mean, I'm not a Scientologist, and I mean, if they wanted to dig something up about my past, not that I have anything like, too exciting, but your average person would have things that they could dig up. And I just wonder, what did they have on her? Was it something just embarrassing, or was it something illegal or what, but I guarantee you they had something on her. Yeah, and this one makes me sick too, John Van Geest. They used the wheelchair like a gurney to wheel in a deceased person. I I don't know why, but that bothers me on such a large scale. It just, they couldn't sit her in the chair. I mean, was she stiff? You know, what do we not know? Because those last 2 days are gone, right? So, I mean, they couldn't sit her in it, so they just like slung her across it, you know. Lisa P says, I didn't know about the bites. I had heard about the bites. And yeah, I I looked at her autopsy photos. I mean, these weren't like these were just like pictures of her body, basically, or parts of her body. It wasn't any, the ones that I looked at weren't, you know, they were in black and white, and they were, her body was covered in bruises and insect bites and scratches, and I don't even know what all it was. It was just, her back was, I don't know what it was. And it talked about that she had like scaly, places on her. It, I don't know. I don't think she was being bathed. She obviously wasn't being fed. I don't know. I don't think they were doing anything to help her. And if she had all these insect bites, can you imagine what that was doing to her? That in itself would drive me insane. Just the itch and the ick, you know? Absolutely mischief managed. This is what certain channels should be discussing, not Tom Cruise or Shelley Miscavige. Amen. Amen. And yes, apparently cockroaches bite. I've read that in several places now. I did not know it. Did not know it. Yes, they should have done more investigation. Okay, valerian is a plant used as an herbal tea to help sleeping, like chamomile. Maybe it was used in tablet form. Can you imagine trying to calm someone going through a psychotic break with tea? Yeah. And you know what is funny is that a lot of people are allergic to these herbal teas. Like, I am crazy allergic to chamomile, and I can't have anything that's got it in it, any kind of tea or soaps or lotions or anything, or I itch. I don't break out so much in a rash. I will sometimes get a rash, but I itch so deep that it is like that it is in my bones. And so, they said that she was scratching herself, and it made me wonder if she could have maybe been allergic to it and having some kind of reaction like I was. Yes, and Mike Rinder was down there covering this up. Absolutely. And you can bet I'm going to be looking into that. Now, I'm going to tell you all, it is not easy. I've done hours and hours. I never even went to sleep last night. I was doing hours and hours and hours of researching this, and there's not a lot of information out there because they keep everything quiet. I was actually surprised that I found these excerpts from the log, but I'm going to try. I'm going to really try. I don't know. I know I've got enough that I can do one more kind of dive on her a little bit, but I don't think I'm going to be able to get a lot, just for the fact that they have really, really covered this up. Now, as an idea, I'm also doing a deep dive on L. Ron Hubbard. And it is not hard to find the dirt on that man. But to find the dirt on her, I mean, and I don't mean on her, I mean on her death, on her murder. I think it's murder. But it is difficult. They have really, really covered this one. Yeah, I bet that he told what happened at some point to someone. I do too. Um, he's went pretty much back underground, I guess. He's just like, he came out and he had a whole lot to say, and then now he didn't say anything anymore. And I'm going to look into him a little bit too. I'm like, just kind of, like I said, I'm kind of new to this and to the deep dive of it, into the different situations and everything. And I want to know. And it's that investigative reporter in me, y'all. I am just really like a dog with a bone sometimes. So if any of my apps see anybody that's live, we can absolutely do a room raid. We're about to be done here. So if one of you all can kind of look and see, put up a link for somebody that's live. There's not many of us here. There's 12 people, though. We can sure raid somebody. Yeah. This is what he was so busy with that he had no idea what was going on with Miriam. Amen, girl. Uh, yeah. Why isn't he spilling it? If he was that busy, that he didn't have time to know anything about Miriam, which is a bunch of crap. But if he was, then, speak up, Brenda. Speak up. The reason he won't is he's covering his ass. You know damn well he was in on this. He was up to his eyeballs in this. Yeah, Miss Sunrise Dawn. She just Googled those autopsy photos. Oh, holy crap, what they did to that poor woman. Exactly. And now you know why I didn't sleep last night. Yeah. How could Scientology let their own people live in such filth? Can you imagine the kids with bites and the elderly? Absolutely. I think about, which, I don't want to get into this. No more kids, I am a no more kids in Scientology thing, but, we know that there are still kids there. But I understand that they don't have babies in Scientology, Mitch. But they did, okay? And these babies were just left laying in these beds, right, with dirty diapers and everything else. And I remember how they were bathed, where they just fill up some water and they just basically dunked that one and dunked this one, dunked that one. Because these were kids watching babies, right? This wasn't you and I taking care of these babies. This was little kids, like 10, sometimes younger, that were watching babies. But can you imagine these babies being bitten? Because you know that they were being bitten too. And what the hell is wrong with these parents that they weren't saying, hey, my baby's got bites? Or, if she was getting bitten, that those kids were getting bitten too. And we still talk about the roaches and everything to this day. So people are still getting bitten. You just, ugh. Yeah. Paints a horrible picture. Watching Aaron tend to Lisa's memorial brick, calming and healing. It was also fun to see him be okay with the dead air for a change. Absolutely. The work didn't require much dialogue. Respectfully quiet. I think that day was the day that I really gained a lot of respect for Aaron as a person. Before that, he was kind of, he's a YouTuber. And I mean, I respected him and I respected the job that he did and everything, but I respected him as a person. When he like sat, squatted, laid, he was all over the place, bless his heart. He couldn't figure out a comfortable position to get down on that brick, on that concrete and brick and repaint the words on her brick. Oddly, that's the only brick that just keeps getting damaged. And it's right next to the Scientology building. Imagine why, huh? Yeah. But watching him repaint that, and you're right, Donna, the majority of it was dead air. It was just him laying there, leaning over it, painting it, and being so meticulous. And I kept wanting to tell him, do this, do that, the artist in me, the painter, and use this to seal it and use that. And I kept thinking, I want to go there now and just, you know, paint it again if it needs it and whatever it needs. And if I lived there, I'd be down there every week, making sure that it was in perfect condition. But for him to go down there and him, that's my dog. I was about to say, what is that? I don't mean this ugly. I don't, y'all, but he's a man. And he was like so moving and oh, that's the cat. Okay. I was about to say, what is that noise? It was heartbreaking and heartwarming all at the same time. And that's what I woke up with. It was actually night before last that I woke up and I couldn't stop thinking about her. And then last night I didn't sleep at all because my husband kept waking up and he'd say, "Are you still on that iPad?" And I'm like, "Yes." "Are you going to sleep?" "Probably not." And I would have videos playing with my little earplugs in the background. I was catching up on some of the anti-Scientology videos but in, over to the side, but the main screen was page after page and site after site looking up stuff on Lisa. And then I would have to have a break from it and I'd go look up stuff about L. Ron Hubbard, and then I'd back to Lisa. And y'all should see my notes. It's ridiculous. And I've got already 2 videos planned on L. Ron, but I've even got the thumbnails made for them. But good. Okay, here. There was an interview on 2020 or 60 Minutes where Mike talks, or should I say lies, about this. Yeah. Whoops. They had a video of Marty abusing his adoptive son, and suddenly he was doing videos against the ex-Scientologist. Yeah. Yeah, what parents say rarely see their kids. True. Dustin, Cheryl, and Lori all check on the brick. Yeah. Aw. Dustin goes and talks to her each time he's there. That's so sweet. I know that Aaron does too. He goes and checks on it when he's down that way. And his name just went out of my head. George. He checks on it. Okay, y'all. Do we want to go to... Let's go to this one and do a room raid. Okay, so everybody just go over there. I've got it on my phone, so we can go over there too. Everybody just tell them where you're from, and I will see you guys. I might come back on later tonight, but it's probably going to be tomorrow. So I love you guys. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate you so much. And anyway, I'm going to go spend some time with the hubs. He's out. We have a garden, but it's all in barrels, like plastic barrels that are cut in half. And he's out there drilling holes in them um, so that they don't hold water. So where do we want to go? Do we want to go to the one where Aaron is talking about Leah, or do we want to go to JDSA? Which one do we want to go to? Let's go to the one that Jay's first, okay? Let's go there. It's a little bit smaller channel. Let's go there. Oh, he's gone. Okay, so go to Aaron's and tell him that we're there from here, okay? I'm going to go to his too. Okay. I love you guys. Everybody go there, okay? I love you guys. I'll see you later. Bye.